Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Haley. Today, I am creating a warm-toned, neutral, fall bridesmaids look. I am going to be a bridesmaid, one of my best friends in the world, my roommate from college, her wedding day, and I am so excited. We're flying to California for it, and I knew I needed to practice my makeup look. My dress color is terracotta, so I get to be a little more warm-toned with my makeup looks. If you want to see how I created this warm-toned fall bridesmaids look, just keep watching. Okay, so this shirt is close-ish to the color. I mean, it's not really the color, but it's kind of the closest I had, and I want to kind of see without actually putting makeup on in my dress because that sounds like a bad idea. Also, elephant in the room, I'm working really hard to get rid of my contact dermatitis, and I'm so close. So I'm wearing a glove on one hand a lot, even when I do my makeup, because I don't know if it's something in my cosmetics that's causing it or what, but I don't have it on this hand. I get it on this thumb occasionally, but I don't have it right now. That's that. On the actual day of the wedding, I'm gonna use Dior Airflash, which is my favorite foundation of all time, but it's been discontinued. I used it on my wedding day. It's kind of running out. I feel like there's probably maybe this much left. I only really use it for special occasions at this point, so I'm not gonna use it today because I wanna make sure I have it. It just photographs beautifully. It looks beautiful in person, so this is the one I wanna wear. But I'm also gonna bring this one just in case, the Estee Lauder Double Wear, because it's pretty much my second choice and it's the one that I'm gonna be using today. So we're gonna do eyes first, but every time I do eyes first, I always make sure that some foundation is laid down on my eyelids and just around the area. Very little bit of this on a sponge. This is the shade 1N1, by the way. I personally always think it looks very strange when you do eye makeup first, but you don't lay down foundation first, because I feel like it just doesn't look the same as it would. Laying some down here. I hope you guys have like a snack or something to drink, because I haven't done a get ready with me tutorial kind of video in a minute, and they always take a long time. So I had to grab my brushes behind me, kind of shift things behind me. I went very back and forth on what palette to use for this eye look. I was really thinking about it this morning, and I was like, oh, there's so many. I have a whole video on fall eyeshadow palettes. If you want to see it, I can link it below. But I was like, okay, if I use this palette, I'm gonna have to reach into this other palette, and then I'm gonna have to bring two palettes. So I finally decided on one that I actually did not include in that video, the Too Faced Sweet Peach palette, which is pretty much my favorite palette of all time. I did not include this in that video, but this actually could be a very fall palette. I always think of it as like a spring and summer palette, but there's definitely fall tones in here. And this is the one that I was like really pretty without having to reach into other palettes, because we're gonna do a pretty eye look, but it's gonna be matte. Okay, this is gonna sound weird, because with my wedding, I didn't really care. Like, I didn't care about the makeup that the other girls wore. I didn't care about the nails that they had. I was kind of a low maintenance bride in that way. I really cared about how I looked, but I didn't really care how other people looked, which I don't know what that says about me. But for this, because I'm a bridesmaid, I want to make sure all the attention is on the bride. So to me, shimmery shadow should be maybe reserved for the bride unless it's really subtle. So I'm going to do a matte makeup look, but I still want something that's going to look really pretty. So that's what we are going to attempt today, and I'm very excited. Okay, cool thing about wearing a glove is like when I need to clean off a brush, I just kind of, this is not great for the environment, by the way. I don't plan on doing this forever. This is just for now. So I'm gonna take this shade White Peach, which actually is not fully matte to me. There's like a little bit of satin there, but I'm gonna take it and use it to set the eyelids, set that primer. And obviously, when I say I didn't care how other people looked, I don't mean it the way that it's sounding right now. I did. I spent a lot of time picking out their dresses and stuff like that. I was a weird bride that like, I felt like all of the dresses, I wanted them to be the same. That's not the case for this wedding, and it's not my wedding, so I don't really care, but that was something that I did care about. Let's see here. What do I want to do? We're gonna mix Puree and Summer Yum. Summer Yum is definitely warmer than Puree, but I'm gonna mix them together for the crease. So my dress is terracotta. I really want this look to be warm, but not too much. Like sometimes shadows that are too warm can, to me, overpower my makeup looks. I think they look gorgeous on other people, but I'm usually more of a cooler toned gal when it comes to makeup. I love that I'm using this palette for this. It makes me happy. Oh yeah, that looks good. I like that. And then I'm gonna mix them again. Okay, I like that. I'm gonna take this like fluffy but dense angled brush. It's a medium angled shading brush from Sigma. And I'm gonna take this Peaches and Cream shade, and I'm gonna put that all over the lid now. This is gonna be like my lid shade. And I like this because it really fits the contours of your eye really well and lays down the shadow well. It's pretty, I like that. I think this is gonna look really nice. I haven't done an all matte look in a minute. Well, actually that's not true. I do, but they're usually like white shadow. And obviously we're not going for white. This is someone else's wedding. I'm just so excited for her. And I'm so excited to go. I mean, I haven't been on a trip in a minute, a long minute. Last time I was on a trip was when we were on our honeymoon in December. Now, if you're a bridesmaid and you really want shimmer, I would just talk to your bride about it. I mean, I don't know. I feel like most brides probably wouldn't care as long as it's not too like eye-catching. I don't know. I'm gonna stick with matte. And I feel like most bridesmaids looks that I see online are mostly matte, so we're gonna go with that. Now I'm gonna try something. I'm actually gonna try, so the deepest matte shade in here is this Charmed I'm Sure shade, which is much cooler, which is not exactly what I'm going for. So I think I'm gonna now mix Summer Yum again, but this time with the Charmed I'm Sure shade, and just try that out. I'm gonna dip into the Charmed I'm Sure shade first and then Summer Yum. Oh yeah, that's pretty. That worked out well. So this wedding is definitely not at the most ideal time for teaching, but it's okay. I'm really excited. I feel like this is like the most exhausted I've been teaching in a minute. This is the most classes I've taught in a while because at my old school, I was also the DL coordinator. So for most of last year, I wasn't teaching like classes. I actually did end up teaching 5 classes at the end though, because we were short so many teachers, but we teach every class every day, which is very like, I feel like unlike the secondary model that I've experienced at least. So I'm exhausted. I mean, I get a planning period every day, but it's for 50 minutes. It's not that long. And I'm kind of reaching a point where I'm like, I almost feel like I would rather have less classes and a planning period every other day than have one every single day. But I have a feeling that my coworkers probably don't feel the same way. All right, that is really pretty. Okay, I kind of want to go back in with the Peaches and Cream shade just to brighten it up a little tiny bit, blend together. Yeah, that's really pretty. And now I'm gonna go back in again with the 2 darker shades. So I'm not totally sure how much time I'm gonna have to put makeup on. So this is, I mean, it's gonna be a beautiful, kind of extravagant wedding, but it's still very DIY, which is cool because that's just how my friend is. And it's kind of all hands on deck with helping. And we cannot get into the venue until 10 and the wedding starts at 2. So I don't know. I mean, I think she was kind of saying that if anything, we will end up just like having to bow out and let the guys finish the setting up so that the girls can start getting ready, because we're looking at only having like an hour right now, which definitely for the bride is not enough. I hope she would be leaving a lot earlier. I was kind of thankful because I was the only one. I felt like I was going to be the only one saying like, I don't know if an hour is enough for hair and makeup. And then thankfully someone else said it. And I was like, oh, good. Not just me. Cause I know I'm pretty, you know, I do a lot of steps with my makeup. So I like that. I like that a lot. I feel like I could also have taped it off, which is what I did for my own wedding, but I don't know if I really need to do that for this. Just making sure it's all blending together. I think that's really pretty. I don't do a ton of warm toned looks anymore. So I like this a lot. It's really nice. I'm currently running out of eyeliner. I'm gonna have to run to the store today, probably. So the one I'm gonna use today is the Makeup Revolution Renaissance Flick, but I actually like the J-Cat Rockin' Glitz even more, so that may end up being the one that I'm repurchased to use for the wedding. I really love the Stila, but the Stilas that I have are running out, and to me, when you buy a new one, they take a couple of days to dry out once you've opened it to actually really, really look good. So I think I'm gonna go with the J-Cat. As usual, we're gonna see how well I can do eyeliner without putting my arms resting on anything. But we definitely want a wing for this because we're gonna use some fake lashes. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. Now for the other side, let's see if we can make it match. My eyeliner is majorly dying, so I think that's the best I can do right now. Not the best I've ever done, but I will get a new eyeliner by then. Literally all the eyeliners I have are pretty much run out at this point. As a fun tip, I always know that my eyeliner is running out. Either it starts skipping a lot, or when you feel like you have to create gigantic wings to like fully get your eyeliner on, that's when I know, okay, I'm running out of eyeliner, because you keep putting on more and more product to try to make it even. That's always a sure sign, but this looks mostly even, so I think we're good. We are going to move on to the base makeup. The eyes are always the hardest, and to me, they take the longest actually, so we're doing good. We're moving right along. I'm gonna use the e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer. I have this travel size version of it that I'm gonna bring with me just to save some room. Put some on my nose. I've really been loving just the OG Poreless Putty Primer lately. Okay, my camera overheated. I don't think it's gonna be the first time. I'm in a super warm room. It's hard because mornings are the best time to film, but not really in this particular room. Anyway, so the first primer is on e.l.f. Putty Primer. I'm now gonna go in with the e.l.f. Power Grip Primer, which I've really been liking this. I'm actually almost out of this, and I wanna go and get the travel size because I used to have the travel size, and it actually lasted me longer than this full size. I think because of the pump. So much comes out of it, but the other one's more of like a really tiny squeeze tube. All right, and I'm just gonna take my sponge and blend that out. It's so funny, my glove. It's really been working though. My hand is doing really, really well. I've done now almost 2 weeks of wearing a glove, like when I shower and stuff, and then when I put on makeup, and using purified water to wash my hand, this hand with. It seems to be working. I have a feeling if I do one more week, like maybe we'll see how I can keep it up when we're on the trip. Sometimes that's really hard, but I'm gonna bring my own soap with me because the soap that I use seems to really help, or at least not aggravate it too much. We are gonna be very, very extra, and we're gonna put a third primer on. I'm gonna use the Maybelline Perfector 4-in-1. So if I was just using this specific foundation that we're using right now, I would actually wanna use a primer that's even glowier because this is very matte, but the one that I'm using, the Dior, is more of like a satin matte finish. So this kind of primer will be a lot better, so. And I have 01. I think I need to repurchase 00 eventually. I love this stuff. This is the second one that I've owned. Okay, again, I'm going to blend this out with my sponge. I know it seems almost redundant, like why are you using 3 different primers like this and you're putting a glowy primer on top of the like matte primer that you already did, but the matte primer is for my pores. Like the e.l.f. Putty Primer is for my pores. The gripping one is really just because it holds on to makeup really well, and this one is to add that glow. All right, we are going to go in with our foundation. I'm excited. I'm gonna put it on this paintbrush looking, that was too much. That's what always happens. Eventually, I really need to get a pump for this. I've repurchased this so many times and I still have never bought a pump. I'm just like too cheap, even though I know I would like having one. Okay, let's start with that. Blend it out and see. I do really like this foundation. if I happen to run out of the Dior, like I don't have enough, I'll just use this one too. I kind of did that on my wedding day because I forgot to bring concealer for blemishes. And I did have a few like stress blemishes on my wedding day. So I actually used the Estee Lauder Double Wear to cover them up. This foundation is so good. I used to use this foundation when I had severe cystic acne. I mean, I'd use a lot more of it than I use now, which I am gonna add like, I think another small layer. Man, there were people I knew that were like, I didn't even know you had severe cystic acne because this is the foundation that I used every day. And I piled on so much that you couldn't tell. I mean, you could tell. If I was in a certain light or at a certain angle, obviously you could see the raised bumps on my face. But I did have some people tell me like, wow, I didn't even know you had severe cystic acne. I was like, yep, I did. For, honestly, like majority of my life. I went off of Accutane in 2019, not even that long ago. My nose just has such a hard time holding on to product, man. Now, for my blemishes, I'm gonna take the Lancome Teint Idole Ultra Wear. This one's a little too dark for me, but I make it work because if you have blemishes, oh my gosh, this is like, honestly, one of the best concealers for that. Another one is the, gosh, what was the drugstore one I used to use? There's a Maybelline one, which I don't know if they still make it, in a white tube. Was it Master Chrome? It sounds weird for a concealer, but it might have been. Or Master Studio something. Yeah. And that is the drugstore one I used to use. And oh my gosh, that one too. I feel like that one's actually probably a dupe for this one. If all you're using this for is blemishes, even with when I had my really bad acne, this lasted me like a really long time. The other thing you can do too, which I often did when I had severe cystic acne, you know, for those of you that maybe are in a wedding and you do have acne and you're doing your own makeup, I would often do the concealing of my blemishes first and then put on foundation because then you're using less foundation. And that was a good way also. And then that way, if you had concealer that was a little bit darker like this one, you would just end up covering it with the foundation, which is the correct shade anyway. Definitely make sure I bring this time. I had like a severe, not severe, but I had a pretty bad breakout, as you could see, hormonal breakout. It's that time of the month, you guys. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. Always make sure that you're blending down the neck too. I mean, I used to be so bad at doing that. I feel like I'm a lot better now than I used to be. I always do it with my bronzer as well. That's a trick I learned from Allie Glines. Now I always highlight the face with concealer as well. I'm gonna use that Makeup Revolution IRL Filter Finish. High points of the face. I always do this before brows so that it doesn't mess up whatever it is I do to my brows. Again, go in with my sponge. Now I'm gonna go in with brows. This is the Maybelline Express Brow. I'll probably go with the CoverGirl one for the wedding, but I'm running out of it. I need to pick up more. I do like this one though. This one is actually a little bit of a warmer toned shade, so it might work out better. I feel like it still works too. I do like this brow pencil, but it's super pigmented. So you have to be like a little bit careful with your placement. The spoolie on this one's really good too. And it really helps diffuse because this is like super pigmented. This is like almost block brows, but something about this spoolie, it's really interesting. I've never before this product said to myself, wow, this is a really good spoolie, but it really is. It like grips on and it really helps diffuse some of that color, that pigmentation. I think that looks pretty good. You always want to make sure to almost that you're looking at your brows together in the same mirror so that you can see that they're like symmetrical. And of course they don't have to look identical, but I'm just going to take my sponge and just sort of even it out. I'm literally like sweating, so this is a good test of how well this makeup can hold up. Now we're going to do under eye concealer, which is going to be another concealer. So I'm bringing 3 concealers. Yes, I am. I'm going to use the NYX Bare With Me Concealer Serum, which I just keep going back to. It is just my favorite with this Sephora 71 brush. And I literally just use this to distribute product. And then I go in with my sponge and I blend. And then I'm gonna take the Charlotte Tilbury Flawless Setting Powder with a little powder puff, which I've found is the best way to set down your under eye concealer. It helps blend it in. It kind of presses it into the skin while also setting it. It's awesome. I need to wash it though. I need to wash all my brushes and stuff too. Okay, camera overheated again. It's okay, we're actually nearing the end here. I'm actually gonna go back into the Sweet Peach palette, and I'm gonna go back into that cool tone shade, Charmed I'm Sure, and the Summer Yum, and go underneath the eyes with it. So this is like a little bit more sultry and a little bit more defined and goes really well for from day to night. I feel like normally you don't care about from day to night that much as magazines used to tell us, but I do think a wedding is a scenario where it's nice if it takes you from day to night. For contour, we're gonna go in with the e.l.f. Halo Glow Contour Wand. I love this, although now thinking about it, this one does not have a twist closure. And I'm thinking maybe I should bring the Tarte, because I do like the Tarte. I like this one a little bit more, but the Tarte one has a twist closure and I feel like this is just gonna explode everywhere. But we'll use this one for now because I already started. But yeah, I think I'll probably take the Tarte one just because it can twist close. Because the scenario is that my husband has an event he has to cater on the Wednesday before. And so we're actually going up separately so that I can go to the bachelorette party. And we're staying with his sister, but for the first night, because where we're going for the bachelorette is in San Jose, I'm staying in San Jose and his sister lives like further away. But then TJ doesn't come in until like 8 o'clock at night. And then like, I'm assuming I'll have to check out probably at like 11 or something. I guess I could request a later checkout and see how late I'm allowed to check out. But so for that reason, I'm thinking I might not want to bring that much stuff with me and just have TJ bring most of it, because I don't know if I'm going to have to like carry that around with me somewhere. I don't know if I'm just going to be like literally parking it in the lobby until he gets in, which is gonna be pretty late, but that's okay. We'll make do. I wanna make sure I do the chin too. It is seriously so hot and sweaty in here that my hair is just totally sticking to my face. For powder, I'm gonna go in with the Makeup Forever HD setting powder. I thought about using the Huda Beauty Easy Bake, but that one, I have the lightest shade and that one is so white that I'm almost worrying about like flashback. I don't know because I've never tested it. So I do know that I really like this one too. So I'm sure this one's fine. I'm just really careful with applying it with kind of like a smaller fluffy brush so that I don't remove any of the coverage. I'm definitely gonna want to set because again, it's looking like it's gonna be a very sunny day. The wedding's outside. I'm so excited, you guys. This is like my roommate from college and we're still really close friends. She was in my wedding and I'm just so excited to see her. Like, excited to see her. I'm excited to see her have her kind of happily ever after. She and I both went through a lot in college, and I don't think we could have gotten through all of it without each other, to be honest with you. For bronzer, I'm going to go in with the L'Oreal Infallible Pressed Bronzer. I love this because it has coverage, so it'll add even more coverage. I wore this on my wedding day as well. Just bronze up the face. Bronze, bronze, bronze. And this is where I talk about blending down the neck. Other side. So we're also going to be extra and use 2 blushes. This is the MAC blush in Melba, which is pretty much perfect for this look because it's peachy. Very pigmented. That was probably too much. It's okay. You want a lot for photography anyway. And this is a matte blush. And I'm also going to go over that with my sponge a little bit. Now this is where I feel like we can add some shimmer in. I'm actually gonna go in with the NARS Orgasm Blush, which is more of a cooler toned pink, but there's gold specks in it, which kind of helps the warmer undertone. Honestly, just a little bit, just to add some shimmer back in. Yeah, I think that looks really pretty. But this one ends up pulling a little more peachy, like I said, because it has that gold glitter in it. It's really pretty. Now for highlight, I'm gonna go in with the MAC Double Gleam highlighter. And this one's fun because it almost looks like it's gonna be, it's somewhere in between a cooler and warmer toned highlight. It's like somehow right in the middle, and that's what I like about it. I feel like it'll really help pull some things together in the look. Again, I wore this one on my wedding day. It's beautiful. I literally only bought it a couple days before and I used it and I was like, nope, this is the one I'm going to use on my wedding day. Here and here. Now setting spray is going to be very important because it is going to be outside at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. We're going to go in with the Urban Decay All Nighter, of course. And I'm just going to go back in with that sponge and make sure everything is pressed down and blended. That setting spray also really helps to melt things together. Obviously, we're not done yet. I'm gonna set the brows with the Anastasia Beverly Hills Clear Brow Gel. And I'm gonna go in with the Milani Lash Extensions Mascara. This is a tubing mascara that lasts very well through crying because I'm sure that I will be crying at some point and you don't want tubes running down your face. Because a lot of tubing mascaras will come off while crying because they come off with warm water and your tears are warm. And below. Time for lashes. They're turned around the wrong way, but I don't want my camera to overheat again, so I'm not going to take the time to flip them over. But this is the Kiss My Lashes But Better. I have some pre-cut here, just kind of stuck to them on the back. And I'm just going to use the Duo lash glue here. For my wedding, I wore the Kiss Pompadour lashes, which I think were perfect. They're really perfect for weddings if you are the bride. Gosh, I cannot get this to stick. I'm like rushing now because I really don't want my camera to overheat again. Okay, the gloves are literally off. The camera, it overheated again. So we need to wrap this up, you guys. So I put the lashes on. What I was gonna say about the lashes is I think these are perfect for bridesmaids because they're not too overpowering. They're not gonna draw too much attention, where again, the attention should be on the bride, but you still look nice, you know what I mean? So I get lots of compliments on these lashes. A lot of people ask me if they're real even, so I think these would be a great option. Now we're gonna move to lipstick. I want to use a MAC Powder Kiss lipstick, and I have two options here. I have Mullet Over, which has been a favorite of mine for a long time. It's kind of peachy. And then I have Ready to Burst, which is more of a mauve-y, but that can sometimes look really pretty with peachy looks. Let's do Mullet Over. I didn't really prep the lips super well. They're a little dry. I think this is really pretty. What do you guys think? Very warm toned, not too overpowering, still very neutral. I am super happy with this and I'm excited to see it with the dress on. So I hope you guys got a few ideas for this video on how to do more of like a bridesmaids kind of look, more of a warm toned kind of fall look. I am extremely happy and I love that I got to use the Sweet Peach palette because it's still just my favorite. If you enjoyed this video, I hope that you will subscribe, and if you're already subscribed, I hope you'll hit the notification bell to get notified when I upload new videos, and I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day. Love you guys. Bye.